गौहर गौहर रा गौहर 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 रा गौहर 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 रा गौहर गौहर रा गौहर गौहर रा गौहर गौहर रा गौहर 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 रा गौहर गौहर रा गौहर गौहर रा गौहर गौहर रा गौहर गौहर तुम्हीं से हर है कायम, तुम्हीं से बुत खाने
से हर है कायम, तुम्हीं से बुत खाने।
या गौहर शाही या गौहर या गौहर या गौहर शाही या गौहर या गौहर किसी के मन में समाए हो देवता की तरह, किसी के मन में समाए हो से कोई तुम्हें खुदा जाने और दिलो जान से कोई तुम्हें खुदा। या गौहर शाही दिलो मजहब को क्या जाने, जिसको मिल जाए गौहर वो मजहब को क्या जाने, जिसको मिल जाए गौहर वो मजहब को क्या जाने, क्या जाने, क्या जाने, क्या जाने, जिसको मिल जाए गौहर वो मजहब को क्या जाने, जिसको मिल जाए गौहर वो मजहब को क्या जाने। हाँ गौहर तुमने चाहा कि रहो खुद से भी पोशीदा, मगर तुमने चाहा
रहो खुद से भी पोशीदा, मगर
गौहर शाही गौहर शाही, तुमने चाहा खुद से भी पोशीदा, चांद और सूरज ने सुनाए तुम्हारे अफसाने, चांद और सूरज
ने सुनाए तुम्हारे अफसाने,
सूरज ने सुनाए तुम्हारे अफसाने, चांद और सूरज ने सुनाए शेख काबा ने तो चाहा कि ना हो जिक्र तेरा, शेख काबा ने तो चाहा, शेख काबा चाहा कि ना हो जिक्र तेरा, शेख काबा ने तो चाहा है अजरे हसवद में क्यों सूरत तेरी खुदा जाने, अजरे हसवद में क्यों सूरत तेरी खुदा जाने, या गौहर अजरे हसवद में क्यों सूरत तेरी खुदा जाने। इन्हीं में गुम है नबूवत उलूहियत बखुदा, इन्हीं में गुम है नबूवत उलूहियत बखुदा, हाँ इन्हीं में गुम है नबूवत उलूहियत बखुदा। बस है गर ये कहे हम हैं इनको पहचाने, बस है गर
ये कहे हम हैं इनको पहचाने,
समझिए क्या इन्हें क्या जानिएगा क्या है गौहर, गौहर नुमा है खुदा हम तो बस है ये जाने, गौहर खुदा हम तो बस है ये जाने, गौहर नुमा है खुदा हम तो बस है चाहे तुम्हें दुनिया न तुमको क्यों माने, न चाहे तुम्हें दुनिया न तुमको या गौहर शाही इश्क फितरत है तेरी, इश्क ज़बान इश्क अदा, इश्क फितरत इश्क फितरत है तेरी, इश्क ज़बान इश्क अदा, इश्क तालीम तेरी, इश्क तेरे पैमाने, इश्क तालीम तेरी, इश्क तेरे पैमाने, इश्क तालीम तेरी, बेनियाज़ी पे तुम्हें नाज हमें फख्र भी है, बेनियाज़ी पे तुम्हें नाज हमें फख्र भी है, या गौहर शाही या गौहर या पर मेरी जान कहाँ जाए तेरे दीवाने, पर मेरी जान कहाँ जाए तेरे दीवाने, मेरी जान कहाँ जाए तेरे गौहर के रंग में रंग जाए जब कोई यूनुस, गौहर के रंग में रंग जाए जब कोई यूनुस, गौहर के रंग में रंग जाए गौहर की पूजा करे वो खुदा को क्या जाने, गौहर की पूजा करे वो गौहर की पूजा करे वो खुदा क्या जाने, गौहर की पूजा करे वो खुदा तुम्हीं से हर्म है कायम, तुम्हीं से बुत खाने, ये और बात है दुनिया न तुमको पहचाने, ये और बात है दुनिया न तुमको पहचाने, गौहर गौहर शाही मरहबा। नाज़रीन मोहतरम, आप मुलाहिज़ा फरमा रहे हैं लटी से नशियात। महफिल अभी जारी है, एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद दोबारा महफिल कंटिन्यू रखेंगे। गौर शाही मरहबा।
सबके राम हो गौहर, तुम कल की औतार, तुम ही सबके मन मंदिर में तुम्हारी मूरत, तुम भगवान सरकार। तन भी तुमरा मन भी तुमरा, तन भी तुमरा मन भी तुमरा है घर बार, तुमरा है घर करो महाराज अल्गोहर,
कृपा करो सरकार,
दर्शन दे दो
मुझ भक्ति को दर्शन दे दो, मुझ भक्ति को चरण लगूं सरकार, तुझे चरण लगूं सरकार।
ऐसी राह दिखाओ मुझको, तुमसे मिलूं हर बार।
ऐसी राह दिखाओ मुझको, तुमसे मिलूं हर बार।
तुम परवारी तुमरा पुजारी, तुम परवारी
पुजारी
तुम मोरे राजकुमार, तुम मोरे
राजकुमार।
कृपा करो महाराज अल्गोहर, कृपा करो
सरकार,
दर्शन दे दो मुझ भक्ति को,
दर्शन दे दो मुझ भक्ति को, चरण लगूं सरकार, तुझे चरण लगूं सरकार।
जन्म जन्म से तुम रहो गौहर, तुम केवल सरकार।
जन्म जन्म से तुम रहो गौहर, तुम केवल सरकार।
धर्म तुम्ही हो, धर्म तुम्ही हो,
धर्म तुम्ही हो, धर्म तुम्ही हो,
तुम कल की अवतार,
मुलाहिज़ा फरमा रहे हैं अलरा टीवी की तरफ से नशियात लंदन से बराह रास्त। कुछ देर बाद, कुछ लम्हात के बाद मुलाहिज़ा फरमाएंगे नुमाइंदा गौहर शाही सैयद यूनुस गौहर का बयान मुबारक। तमाम दोस्तों, अहबाब, नाज़रीन से गुजारिश है कि इस महफिल के लिंक को अपने अहबाब के साथ शेयर करते रहें। अब मैं महफिल आगे बढ़ाते हुए दरख्वास्त गुजार हूँ नुमाइंदा गौहर शाही से कि अपने बयान
Goshay Marhaba. Namaskar and good evening to everybody. We would like to welcome our Honorable President of Masai Foundation International USA, Azusina Avila. She's here. And at the same time, we have Mehdi Foundation USA President, Irfan Bhai. And our honorable guests are here to participate in the coming event in Glastonbury, which is to be held day after tomorrow. And I really feel pleasure in my heart seeing you here. It's so nice of you to be coming here. And today is the last day of Western Sufi Course. This program is very unique in the sense that this is the first time we're going to have a program in England. We have lived here for almost 30 years and we didn't manage to get a program. But the credit goes to Azusina Avila, who really worked hard and she managed to organize this program. And only after the program was proposed and Brother Steve went there and Brother Steve discovered the potential in that area. And we were completely unaware of the fact there is a lot of potential in England. As Brother Steve roamed around the town in Glastonbury, he noticed that every single person there has a very spiritual vibe, and there are all sorts of activities that take place on daily basis in Glastonbury. You will find clairvoyant shops, spiritual stuff shops there, and Sufism is really welcome in that little town. And Glastonbury is not just famous for spirituality, it is also famous for music festivals. Like the, what's that music festival that they hold in Belgium? Tomorrowland. So this music festival that takes place in Glastonbury is more or less same like Tomorrowland. Brother Steve has worked really hard in Glastonbury. He discovered a lot of potential. He's been there many, many times. And he met a GFM radio presenter. And they have been talking about this event on radio. I think many times a day. So it's really pleasant to hear this kind of positive feedback from people. So we're going to go for this program tomorrow. And then when we come back on Sunday, we have yet another program on Wednesday in Watford. And Brother Steve anticipates a really good crowd. I think Brother Steve went there yesterday. Yesterday, he spoke to the organizers. So everything is set, and the message of spirituality, message of Sufism is going across nations, cultures, and in all forms of spiritual circles, without limitations, without boundaries, without religious connotations. It's really wonderful to see the acceptability of this message among followers of all religions, and even those who do not want to associate with religions, but they feel that they want to see God, they want to love God. And this message is getting bundles of appreciation from that circle also. So today, as I said, is the last day of Western Sufi Course. I'm going to start the proceedings of this course, but I would like to have few words from Brother Steve, in which Brother Steve is going to welcome our honorable guests, and then we'll have few words from our USA President Azusina Avila, and then Irfan Bhai. So take it away, Brother Steve. Would you like to sit there, Brother Steve? Or maybe here? How was your journey, Azusina? Long flight. Okay. Calgary? Yeah. New York is very busy. Official now. Ikhlaq bhai, give it to our honorable.
And welcome to all, and a special welcome to our guest, Sister Azusina, who's come from Phoenix to join us for this string of programs that we've got lined up here in UK. And of course, Irfan has come over, the president of Medi Foundation in USA. And this is really on the back foot of a very successful tour that we had in the Western states of America earlier in the summer, where Sister Azusina booked these programs right from the northern part of California, across Arizona, back to Los Angeles in California. I mean, we covered a lot of states. We covered a lot of different communities. I mean, she has so many contacts, so many friends in this spiritual circle. And we had Native Americans join us, people from the Jewish community, Christian community, people from New Age. And she worked tirelessly promoting these programs and inviting as many people as she could, grabbing people, meet His Holiness, you must come and meet His Holiness, and she wanted to bring as many people as she could, Her enthusiasm was fantastic, and of course she invited us to her house as well, and we did a big meet up there, and these contacts that we've made, like Scott and Master Berger were two lovely souls that we met during one of these talks, and now we're off to Israel. So this message is spreading, and as I've seen, is helping us in Mexico as well. So these events that we've got lined up, as Sunday is the first one, Sunday the 27th, in the town hall in Glastonbury. And as His Holiness said earlier, people are really excited and the whole town's buzzing. Wow. It's really a hub of spirituality, that place. When you go there, you can feel the energies, you can feel people are looking, they're searching for knowledge, they want to know more about spirituality, they're very open, and they have a great awareness of Sufism. I was very surprised that they were very aware of Sufism being as they see it, the spiritual side of Islam. So when we just tell them about this as a universal Sufi order, they're just agog. And GFM, Glastonbury FM, have very kindly given us so much advertised. I mean, Glastonbury, you have to remember, it's a very close-knit community. It's a small town, very traditional in the way that they live their lives. I mean, everything's with newspapers, physical newspapers, local news. They had radio. They get their information from radio, and they socialise a lot. So this has been spreading round, and the town hall is very much a community place. It's not, where we live, how many people have been into Croydon Town Hall? It's just a completely different story. But in Glastonbury, they're very involved in the whole community. So, it's going to be just out of this world. So that's going to kick off this 3 events. We're going to go on to the Multi-Faith Centre in Watford in North London. Lovely people there. I went along to meet one of the people on the chair, Mrs. Chowdhury, and she said the same, and she was so happy to see the young Sufis that I brought along with me, Mahad and Furqan. She said, "Oh, you have youngsters, they're interested in spirituality." Wow. I think everybody's always, their mind is that when you come to the end of your time, yeah, you have all the time, you've retired, you've got nothing else to do, then you sort of take up some spiritual practice. But when they see people that got their whole lives ahead of them, and they can do whatever they want to do, but they choose to follow His Holiness and follow this spiritual path. She was so impressed. She asked the same question. I thought this was Islam. So I'm so surprised to see you. She said, "How did you get on this path?" So I told her as well, and she said, "Wow, you really are multi-faith." I think she was shocked. They see themselves as multi-faith, and they're very good. On Friday, they have a Bangladesh meeting there. They do Friday prayers. They have Christian groups there. They're doing their thing. But to actually have that true multi-faith where all the faith embodiment is lacking there. And she was very surprised. She said, you have people from all faiths, but you're all together. I said, yeah, we do. We have people from all faiths. So they're really looking forward to us coming. They've done their own advertising with us. They proudly put our posters up on their notice boards and outside, and they've done some leafleting locally as well. So they're very happy to see us. And of course, we've got the Crown Plaza on the 9th of November, which is just going to be before our trip to Israel. So Sister Azazine has really given us an injection of energy and, really given us a good buzz here in UK. So we're very happy that she's here. And obviously this year is the start of a true friendship and bonding. And I really look forward to these upcoming events.
Right. We're supposed to have some words from Azazina.
Yeah.
Had made to me. This is a promise that God had delivered to me a few years, around 14 years ago, when I was in Sedona, Arizona. That's when I started my spiritual path. So I'm just going to share a little bit about how I started searching for God. I was there was a time in my life when I didn't believe in God. I was not religious and I didn't have any spiritual background whatsoever. And all of a sudden, I started to feel this emptiness and a deep, profound sensation that that my soul was so desperate and so hungry. So it was an immense sensation that I had to meet God, even though I didn't know what God is or what He is like, or I didn't have any spiritual or metaphysical background. So I went to Sedona, Arizona, which is a spiritual area where there is metaphysical activities and a lot of energy because of the vortexes of the planet. And when I was going for a hike, I all of a sudden fainted. And when I fainted, I fell on my back, and all of a sudden I lost consciousness. And immediately I felt that God was speaking throughout all my senses. And His message is that I was going to meet God in this life, and that I was going to start a spiritual awakening and a spiritual process, and that I needed to prepare for this task. It was 14 years of my life that I spent searching and studying different spiritual organizations and groups. And I was so thirsty for knowledge, but it wasn't just the intellectual knowledge that is in the books. It was the reunion with God. I know that the word religion means to reunite with God. And the promise that I had that was delivered that day was that I was going to meet God face to face.
Wow.
and that when that was the time, I was going to start delivering this message to the world,
Wow.
and that this message was going to be activating and uniting people in the world. So that was very overwhelming because I didn't know how to do it.
Right.
It was too much of a task for me. So, and then he said also, God said that a minister from God was going to be brought and delivered in order to do the message, and that this minister from God was made from God's essence and divine
Wow.
image as God.
Wow.
So today, before I came here, I did a lot of fasting and praying, and I have been just so overwhelmed because of the knowing, the awareness that promise is here now.
Wow.
And I came to before I came here a few days ago, I was dreaming at night, every night, that I was crying a lot, like somebody died. So I started to become worried, is somebody going to die? A family member is going to die? Am I going to die? Or what's going on, right? So eventually, like 2 days before, I had the revelation that that crying was because in the inner realms of the creation, in the higher dimensions, they allowed me to know. They removed the veils, and they showed me that His Holiness was the divine minister.
Wow.
And so the promise is here, and this is very profound. It's a way of life. It's a way of being. It's not. It's something that if I didn't do this, I don't know what my life and didn't have any meaning if I didn't dedicate my life to do this for the rest of eternity. So I'm very proud to be here and very thankful, and I feel like I am at home. I feel like I know all of you. I feel this gratitude and this profound love for each of you, because I feel like it's not the first time that we have been doing some spiritual work together. And one of also, we have a lot of work to do to spread Sufism internationally. And I have noticed that there is a tendency back like in the 60s when Sufism started to get more popular, especially in the Western. And so those people that were introduced to Sufism back in the 60s, now they are like 60, 70, 75 years old. And I was thinking that we should also develop some programs eventually to introduce this spiritual science to the youth, and maybe even to create some children's programs, because every time that we talk about this knowledge, is like if we don't do that, it's like the generations are going through, and so there's a lot of work to do. And I'm very glad to be here. We have other exciting programs in Jerusalem and Haifa, and the one in the Crown Plaza here in London. Marla and Scott are joining us, as well as Warren Archer. He's also going to be a speaker in Jerusalem and also in Haifa. And
Marlene also?
who?
Marlene?
Marlene, no, she
No?
couldn't come because her husband is sick.
Oh.
He has cancer,
Oh.
unfortunately.
My God.
And also in the coming year 2000 and 2020, there is already a huge list of different states and cities and towns in the United States that are waiting for for our Sufi master. Yes. I think you're going to have to stay there for 2 months or 3 months.
That's not a problem, but I think the way you organize programs, I should hire a jet. One day in Los Angeles, next day in Lama Foundation.
There is so many. There's already about 15 different cities.
No, I love
So many.
I love to do that because this is my passion. You know,
Mhm.
if there are more programs, I am more happy
Yes. Okay.
because this is what I've been aching to do all my life.
Mhm.
Meeting people, telling them about this message of divine love, Sufism. This is my passion. And I'm very happy that the way you organized programs last time. And if it is even,
Yes.
a bigger length of programs,
Yes.
I would be very happy.
Okay. I was thinking also that eventually we can also organize a convention.
Right.
A convention that will be very awesome, like a 3-day convention, and also
You mean a workshop?
yes, a 3-day workshop convention.
Mm.
And also in Mexico, Monterrey is waiting for you. Guadalajara, Mexico City,
Mexico City, Guadalajara, Veracruz,
Monterrey, Veracruz, Tepoztlán, Puebla. There's a lot of work. Also, our host in Glastonbury Saturday, he's preparing a meal for our Sufi group.
Right.
He's gonna his sister lives in Australia,
Right.
and she is a spiritual teacher in Australia, and she has a group of people
In
Australia.
Sydney?
Yes, I don't know. It's near Sydney.
Okay.
Near Sydney. Yes.
Brisbane.
So it's very important that we come to the dinner Saturday in Glastonbury.
Right.
So I'm also would like to see the Sufi, the Messiah Foundation International, eventually nominating ambassadors for different places throughout the world and cities.
You choose them, give the list
Mm-hmm.
to Brother Steve and Nasir, and we will do it.
Okay.
Yep.
And one of the questions that I still have every time, going back to the Sufi course so that you can continue start with the Sufi course this evening, one concept that I would like to kind of start with is the concept of God is so broad and it's so almost impossible to name it or put it into a phrase and explain it in a couple of words. But every time we talk about God, meeting God, the activation of the heart, and God is the giving us messages, and God the creator, etc., etc., etc. But for so many people, especially in the Western, the word God is they don't even allow you to pronounce the word God in grammar school.
Really?
They don't. No. So a lot of people grow up without this word. It's just like sometimes spirituality.
It's only for dollar bill.
Became so. It doesn't mean anything when you say the word. It's the same thing with the word God for the Western. So if you can elaborate more about what does it mean? What is God? Or when you say God, is God the universe, God an avatar, God, Jesus, Muhammad, who's God?
Good question.
I'm still searching for that.
I'll speak on the subject.
We are in the spiritual path, but there is a law in the spirituality, that the law of infinite, or that means that you never finish learning. It's infinite.
I was thinking, after the Western Sufi course, whenever it is possible and wherever it is possible, we should have at least a 3-day spiritual retreat program. A 3-day spiritual retreat program in which people who will come and join the course, they will stay there. And on daily basis, there will be lectures, meditation, and Sufi zikr, Sufi dance, music for 3 days. So after the completion of this 3-day spiritual retreat course, you will definitely feel that you've been renewed. Your soul has been renewed, rejuvenated. So whenever is this possible, we can do it. And definitely this is more suitable in America. 3-day spiritual retreat. We can either do it in Los Angeles or we can do it in Phoenix. It's for you to decide. Do you like the idea?
Yes.
The spiritual retreat, Brother Steve? Convention is just talking, right? But when you spend 3 days there with me, and you're there for 3 days, you don't have to go anywhere. You know it's 72 hours. You're there. Mentally you're free. And you're focused. You will listen to the lectures, and then through meditation and spiritual Sufi circle, Sufi zikr, you will feel what you heard in the lecture. So those 3 days will transform people. I really like this idea of a spiritual retreat. 3-day spiritual retreat. In order to do this, we will have to hire a place where we can accommodate people who can stay there for 3 days, and we can provide them meals, all these things. It has to be organized well. Well, we will talk about it. We're going to have literally few words from Irfan Bhai. اخلاق گم بھی دے دینا.
Goshai Marabo. Now, first of all, I thank to Sister Azucena. She came here all the way and to join these programs in Glastonbury and Hartford and London, including Jerusalem. So I believe these programs will be wonderful because what she did last time in USA, we all see her efforts. She did a wonderful program.
Wonderful job.
Wonderful.
Let's have a round of applause.
Wonderful series of programs in Phoenix, Los Angeles, California, Mount Shasta, and it was wonderful. The response, like our message was reaching all over the nation without any boundaries. So it's really wonderful, and it's all her effort. Plus, Glastonbury is also is very spiritual place, and is famous for spirituality and music. So I think so it will be very wonderful program in Glastonbury, and including Watford. Brother Steve is also visit there, and they have a very good response. So I hope it will be wonderful program. Plus we have another program in London, Crown Plaza, So I request all the audience, if they are watching and listening, so if you are close to area, please join this program. His Holiness will deliver a wonderful lecture and it will be a wonderful program. So thank you so much.
It cannot be a coincidence that yesterday I ended my lecture on first concept of God, which was finding unity in all that exists. And today we are going to touch upon the second ideological concept of unity, finding unity exclusively with the essence of God. So the first ideology of finding unity in existence of the creation is inclusiveness of a Sufi. It is a message of inclusiveness. And the other half, which relates to God, is the ideology of finding union and finding unity in the essence of God. And I would like to tell you that for centuries, ever since Sufism was introduced, the only school of thought among all Sufis from day one, the concept which prevailed, spirituality, spiritual circles, was the first ideology which concludes inclusiveness, finding God in you and all that exists in this world. This had been the message of inclusiveness. This was the practice of every single Sufi. Inclusiveness. Under the banner of this ideology, in which the Sufis sought unity in the existence of creation, that was not about finding God. That was about finding God's presence. Finding God is different from finding God's presence. God is omnipresent in one way or other. This world, this cosmos, this universe is filled with His presence. Not even an inch of this universe is void of God's presence. And a Sufi, there have been 9 different Sufi orders altogether. And most of these Sufi orders were seeking God's presence. And I gave an example yesterday. When your heart is activated, it is illumined and enlightened and awakened, and it is connected with the Supreme Being. And the heart becomes worthy of being a recipient of the divine messages. You begin to receive messages from God, and at the same time you begin to receive divine rays, beam of light, theophanies of God. And once your heart becomes a true recipient of the divine light, and on regular basis the heart is receiving divine signals, the heart is able to feel the difference by means of getting filled up with the theophanies of God in the heart. Then you begin to identify the same presence in the outside world. Obviously, God is one, but He loves all. There must be many hundred, many thousand people who have the divine presence in their hearts. Because there are different ways, there are different paths, but all paths, all ways lead to God, ultimately. And we will discuss today the second ideology. The first ideology is to find unity in the existence of creation. Creatures created by God. Finding God's presence among all different species of creation. And in the second ideology, you find unity with the Creator. You find unity with the Creator. And like our honorable guest, Azucena Avila, who has been benevolent enough that she has traveled all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, thousands of miles away from here. And she is here, and we're very pleased to have her here tonight. She asked, what is the true concept of God? What is God? This word God is not an original word for him. Can we say, or can we tell which language among all these languages is the language of God? No. Why? One problem is, God is very accommodative. Right? When I say God is very accommodative, it means if Azucena speaks Mexican and she is connected to God and she has started receiving messages from God. The messages will come in her own language so that she can understand them well. Right? For example, for the last many years, I have been speaking every night. But most of the time I spoke in Urdu. We didn't trust you. And finally, you said you have to make changes. All your videos on YouTube are in Urdu language. It's useless. You need to speak English. God understands that already. When He sends messages, He will send messages to people in their own language. But what is the language of God? What language does He speak? Obviously, He communicates with angels. There are angels. He doesn't do anything Himself. He has appointed angels who carry out different duties. So He must communicate with these angels. Angels do not speak English. They do not speak Arabic. They don't speak any of the languages that we speak here in this world. God's own language is Suryani. God's own language is called Suryani. Therefore, His name also is in Suryani. There is not one name in particular. He has many names. Right? He has many, many names. The name that we have received from Adam, Abraham, and Moses, and Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, that name is Allah. Allah is the name of God. Right? But this name was given to the prophets. It is for the use of creation. It is for the use of creation. The creation calls upon Him by saying Allah. What is the name that is very exclusive for God, and it was not revealed upon humankind? It was not revealed upon any prophet. That's just one word. Alif A. A. That's the name. A, La, Ma, Alif, Lam, Mim. A, La, Ma. So A is the word. There, where God comes from, names do not have more than one letter. It's just one. Either it is A or it is Ra. Either it is A or it is Ra. Now, what is God? According to Bible, and according to Prophet Muhammad, God created man in His own image. If I say, Steve looks like me, Steve looks like me. So if people say to me, you look like Steve, if Steve looks like me, I will definitely look like him, because he looks like me and I look like him, right? Irfan looks like me, right? If Irfan looks like me, I will definitely look like him. When God created man in His own image, so man will look like him. Man here is not referred to any particular gender. Man means human, right? Man or woman, both. God created man in His own image. So man will look like God, because man himself has no, or herself has no image. The image given to him or her is the image of God. So I think it's easy to understand that being human beings, we look like God. So when we believe we look like God, God should have a pair of hands, right? And God should have mouth and eyes and nose and head and everything. And then God has a very strong aura around His body. Most Sufis are dazzled by the divine aura, and they conclude God is just light. God is just light. For example, this light here, there is a filament inside, but there is so much light, you cannot see the filament, right? Similarly, there are two ideologies: Wahdatul Wujud, finding unity in all that exists. They are those whose access is to the aura of God. An ideology of Wahdatul Shahud, who finds unity by witnessing the existence of God, who find unity in them of God by witnessing the existence of God. So this aura of God encompasses the entire universe. You and I and everybody else is inside the divine aura. This is how we are part of God. I'm not going to give an example of an ocean. You will slip of the truth. So Sufis who talk about inclusiveness, who find divine presence in all that exists, in birds, in trees, in flowers, right? In animals. Because nothing came into existence from God. For except God, there was nothing. It is God who brought everything into existence. Because He brought everything into existence. Therefore, everything in this world is either reflection of His energy or reflection of His essence. Whether you talk about a tree, that tree also, one way or other, is the manifestation of God's energy. Or a flower. The flower, the beauty of the flower has been borrowed from God. The flower is also part of the aura of God. The animals, the birds, the stone, everything. It's all part of God. Why is part of God? Because it is inside the divine aura. What is aura? Aura is the light, is the energy that emanates from the body. Everybody has an aura according to what they have inside them. Right? If I'm wearing patchouli, you cannot smell rose from me, can you? If I'm wearing patchouli, you will smell patchouli. If I'm wearing rose, you will smell rose. And if I'm sweating and there is no perfume and I haven't taken shower for many days, you think, will I still smell good? No. Perspiration and sweat will make me stink. But if you still think that you smell good, you live in fool's paradise. When you do not have divine energy in your body, how can your aura will reflect divine energy? Right, Brother Steve? You will only emanate from your body what you have in your body. You begin to have a different aura when your heart is enlightened. Your aura changes when the heart is enlightened. And if there is only one soul enlightened in your entire body, you'll have a very faint aura around you. Very faint. But when the other soul is also enlightened, the aura will become thicker and stronger. And when all 7 souls in the body are enlightened, trust me, your aura will look like rainbow. 7 colors emanating from your body. And then, the more enlightened your souls become, more thicker your aura will become. And the radius of the aura will also enlarge with the spiritual growth and spiritual progression. And it will extend to an extent where if you're sitting here, your aura will be so extended that people who live 1 mile away from you, they will also be inside your aura. They will also be inside your aura. Look at the aura of the sun. The sun is millions of miles away from our planet Earth. But the light that emanates from the sunlight is the aura of the sun. It covers the entire universe how mammoth, how big the solar aura is. In a similar way, when your souls become stronger and stronger and stronger, your aura also gets enlarged. So there are Sufis who have access to the divine aura, and then there are very few Sufis who cross the divine aura and reach the essence of God. And reach essence of God. So Sufis who have access to the divine aura are normal Sufis. But His Holiness Gohar Shahi has introduced a type of Sufism which I call Neo-Sufism, which takes the disciple pass through the divine aura and submerge in the essence of God. In the essence of God. And find ultimate union with God. As long as you live here, you can see the image of God. Obviously, He's very far. While you're still alive, you can see Him like you use of FaceTime. But when we depart from this world and our souls leave this world, that moment in which you will be face to face with God is witnessing the splendor of God in, so to speak, real time. But Sufis, while they're still living in this world, they manage to see God. And when they see God, then there are two types of Sufis. Number one, those who see God and God's image is uploaded on the screen of their heart. They close their eyes and they see the image of God in them. And then there are those Sufis, when they are in direct conversation with God, when they are in personal meeting with God face to face, the divine image, the image of God, does not imprint on their heart, but their soul is transformed into the image of God. This was the case with Jesus Christ. Looking at the soul of Jesus equated looking at the image of God, because his inner transformed into the divine imagery. As a Sufi, most Sufis identified God's powers and wonders that were worked by God, His authority. But not too many of the Sufis were able to have had a personal, intimate relationship with God. Like I know you, you know me. This is personal. You know what color of shirt I'm wearing, what perfume I am wearing, what food I am eating, and how I'm sitting, and how I'm walking. This is very personal. So a majority of Sufis were confined to one aspect of God, that was the Creator. And they were introduced to the Creator as creature. But this brand of Sufism, which His Holiness Gohar Shahi has introduced, the concept is different, vocabulary is different, aspects are different. You see the beloved, not God. You become the lover, not creature. It's not just confined to phraseology. It's based on your personal relationship with God. So we believe that we are models of the divine existence. The question should be, what is human being? Not what is God. The question should be, what is a human being? And we will say, human being is an image of Supreme Being. A human being is an image of Supreme Being. Through Sufism, you can bring in your heart, in your being, some portion of the divine essence, some portion of the divine presence. And in order to be able and to be worthy of inviting God to fill our hearts with His presence, we follow Sufism, the path of purification, the path of enlightenment, the path of ecstasy, the path of union, identifying God in us. Sufism is not finding God. Sufism is helping God find us. Sufism is helping God find us. Right? If Azucena gives me this paper and she asks me to read, and I can't read it, maybe she will give me these glasses. She is helping me read it. Oh, I can read it now. Similarly, we as a human being have no ability to find God. Right? God is not a piece of luggage. We haven't lost Him. How will we find Him? He is never separated from us. He separated us from Him when He sent us here. This is not our origin where we live today. This planet Earth is not our origin. He sent us here from the higher realm. So basically, He separated us. So we are lost. We need to be found. We need to be found. I mean, if we say, I want to find God, was God ever with you? Is He lost? No, He is not lost. We are lost. He is wherever He is. We have this concept that we are here for a brief period of time. And when we die, our death is not the end of our life. It is a transition. And in this transition, we have to awaken our soul. You see, if you visit a jungle or a forest and you get lost, obviously there are many rescue teams here and there, but you should be educated enough how to attract those rescue teams to find you. From up there, 10,000 meter high, you cannot be spotted. Therefore, you should have something which is visible from that height. In a similar way, we need to enlighten our heart so that our heart becomes shiny and can easily be spotted by God up there.
So, what technique does Neo-Sufism offer besides the activation of the heart? Have the fusion with God.
Activation of the heart is the first lesson. After activation of the heart, we have another soul on the right side, soul number 2. And then we have soul number 3 next to the heart. And then we have soul number 4 next to this soul. And then we have soul number 5 in the middle. And then we have soul number 6 in the head. And then we have soul number 7 at the belly button. And then the soul of the heart and soul of the lower self, they give birth to yet another 7 souls. And then two more souls come from the main human soul. So 9 souls come from 7 souls, and they are 16 in number. And then our body. So we have 17 people inside us. So now we are divided into 3 groups. Group number 1, our body. Right? Group number 2, soul, the lower self. And then these 7 souls is group number 2, and yet another 9 souls that come out of them is group number 3. So we have 3 different groups of souls. It's complicated, but only for 5 minutes. We have 7 souls. This is heart. Activation of the heart is gateway to spirituality, to Sufism. And after the activation of the heart, when the mystical formula, the name of God, is implanted in the heart, it generates divine energy. It generates divine energy. Now, the heart has two aspects: the spiritual heart and the physical heart. The spiritual heart, will connect us with God. And the physical heart will provide divine energy to our souls and our body. The physical heart will provide divine energy to our souls for enlightenment and provide divine energy to our body to purify this. So we have two aspects of the heart: spiritual heart and the physical heart. When the spiritual heart is activated, it will send messages to the physical heart, and you will feel something is bouncing inside your heart. Something is very hot. Something is very overwhelming. And the physical heart is pounding with God's name. But only initially. Once it has made its presence felt by you, then all its focus will be on providing divine energy to the body and the souls. Right? Now, the physical heart will generate divine energy, and it will mingle into the bloodstream. And the bloodstream will go in circles in the entire body, and the entire body will become purified, not in 1 minute or 1 day or 1 month. It will take time, but it will definitely one day purify the entire body. And as you go along the spiritual path on weekly basis, monthly basis, you will feel light in your body. The more you become spiritual, the more you want to, remain empty in the stomach. When you become more spiritual, you don't eat too much, because your body is getting the divine nourishment. Your body is getting the divine energy, which is helping your body and your souls at the same time. So this activation of the heart is just the beginning. This divine energy will take care of the body, and at the same time, this divine energy will also, one by one, by itself, without you making any effort, enlighten all these souls. All these souls. On the other hand, we have this lower self. And this is higher self. This higher self, in common men, common women, it is under the lower self, which is the hub of negative energy. So, what a Sufi master does, he will liberate the higher self from the shackles of the lower self, release it from being a prey to the negativity of the lower self. when this is separated from the control of the lower self, the mindset changes, the thought process changes, ideologies change, a lot of changes come in your cognitive behavior. Lower self has 4 stages. Number 1 is the commanding self. Number 2 is regretful self. And number 3 is inspired self. Number 4 is contented self. These are 4 stages of the lower self, which obviously go one by one. And then the heart, after the activation of the heart, there are 3 stages. Secured heart, directed heart, and then witnessing heart. After the activation, this is our goal, to obtain secured heart. And when we have obtained it, the next step is the directed heart. As you progress from activation of the heart to the secured heart, you will begin to feel God's presence in your heart. And people will begin to feel God's presence in your company. You will begin to feel God's presence in your heart. And people who are not enlightened, they will begin to feel God's presence in your company when you have the secured heart. Now, as you enter into the second level of the heart family, from secured heart you enter into the directed heart. It's like God is there and my face is towards God. Now you are seeking spiritual alignment of your existence with the existence of God. Seeking spiritual alignment of your existence with the existence of God. And then comes the third step, the third category, witnessing heart. Witnessing heart. You are aligned in the second one, and in the third one, the spiritual entity of the heart will be face to face with God. You see God with the eye of certainty. And you see, as you see God with the eye of certainty, God's image will come and will be stored in the witnessing heart. As you go along the path of the spiritual heart through stages, you're also going through these stages of the lower self at the same time. And this is what I want people to experience in the 3-day spiritual retreat. Some people will obtain this through their own efforts, through lessons of spirituality. But some people like Azucena Avila, who came to Mexico and held my hand, will not have to worship. they will obtain it in 1 minute by transfer of divine energy, holding hands. Right? So there are two ways. Either you go through the proper way of enlightenment through, meditation and zikr and worship and all the rest of it, or somebody is kind enough, to supply his own hard-earned divine energy, hard-earned divine energy to supply through the touch. Through the touch. If you ask me what is your level, you are traveling towards directed heart. You're in the second degree. From the activation of the heart, you jumped from here to the secured heart. And from secured heart in Mexico, you jumped to here. So this is level 3. There are only 5 levels. This is level 3. And here, if you come here, the commanding soul, you have gone past it. The regretful soul, you have gone past it. You're standing at the threshold of inspired self, as Brother Steve is. Now, this is just about 2 souls in your body. It takes time. But these 2 are the main ones. The heart suffers at the criminology of the lower self. So before we begin our spiritual purified journey, we want to remove all the negativity and criminology of the lower self. And once the criminology of the lower self diminishes, then with all the peace of mind and all the positivity, we can cruise along the spiritual path without any sign of worry from the evil attacks or evil interference or the effect of negativity. Either the negativity is inside us or it is outside, coming from different poles. Because we become polarized very easily by different forms of energies. We need protection. And that protection will come from within you. You have the tools of protection inside you. As the divine energy increases in production, this divine energy will spread around your body and soul and will create a positive aura around your body. And in no time, you will develop a type of aura around your body that you will become very free of the external negativity. Your aura will become, repellent to negativity. Anything that strikes or want to strike against you, your aura will become a shield between you and negativity. And the aura gets stronger and stronger and stronger day by day. So after activation of the heart, we do these things. And when this is done, you're able to plunge into transcendental meditation. Transcendental meditation is about gathering the strength of the souls at one point. Gathering the strength of the souls at one point. And when the souls have gathered all their energies and strength, and now they're worthy and they're capable of performing spiritual voyage, then your souls will fly like a bird, like a pigeon. They fly from one place to another. And when the bird of the heart, takes off from the airport of the heart, its first stop is in the second realm, the spheroid of Malkut. In Jewish Kabbalah, they do not say realm, they say Sephiroid. Sephiroid of Malkut, the realm of angels. Now at this point, when your spiritual heart is able to perform a spiritual journey, astral projection, that's what they call people from metaphysics, astral projection. Astral means celestial realm. Projection means what you have here is manifesting in the other realm, to project yourself there. So astral projection will come when the satellite of your heart is able to perform that journey. So what happens when it is fully prepared by means of gathering all these strength? This journey is performed by the spiritual heart. You meditate here, and during that meditation, your spiritual heart leaves your body and arrives at the realm of Malkut, which is the realm of angels. This is transcendental meditation. Then, after we have learned transcendental meditation of the spiritual heart, then we will move on to the meditation of the soul. Meditation of the soul is to do with the third realm, the realm of Jabrut, the origin of human soul. The origin of human soul. This is the place where God had created the real worship place. The real worship place. The anointed worship place, as they say it in Suryani. Baitul Ma'mur. The house of anointment. The house of anointment. The house of Christ. Christ means anointed. Christ is not just Jesus Christ. If you were anointed by God, you are Steve Christ. So Christ means appointed by God. When he said Jesus the Christ, people asked him, "Who are you?" And Jesus said, "Ask the one who sent me." Right? Ask the one who sent me. These words were then translated into this word, the Christ. Christ means sent by God, appointed by God. So this place is in in Alam Jabrut, the realm of Jabrut, and the very center of that place is the house of anointment. This is where God sits and anoints people, appoint them. Right? And then, when this soul also is enlightened, we come to soul number 3. Soul number 3. The spiritual expertise of which was granted to Moses. The spiritual expertise of which was granted to Moses. And the word of the name of this soul denotes its reality. The name of the soul denotes its reality. The meaning of the name of this third soul is Siri, Siri means secret, secret of God. When this soul is enlightened and you're able to perform a spiritual journey with this soul, you plunge into the secret of God, the treasure of God, where the secrets of God are stored. Right? This is why when Moses was able to grab secrets of God, his nation, the children of Israel, became favorite nation of God. Because he had access to the secrets of God. Now, we do not know how many secrets were revealed unto Moses. Still, there must be some more untold secrets and mysteries. Let's find out by reviving our soul of Siri, which can gain expertise in finding, exploring the divine secrets. And then we have soul number 4, Khafi. The expertise of this soul was granted to Jesus Christ. What does it mean? Khafi. A soul, the truth of which is covered. Khafi means a soul, but in appearance it's abstract. Therefore, nobody knows who Jesus is. Khafi, covered. It's hidden. But when, with the help of Lord Jesus Christ, this particular soul is awakened and enlightened, what is covered will unfold on you and will take you to the unfolding of the realities. Right? And then you'll speak. You will speak about the hidden things, and people will say, we never heard this. It is neither in the Quran nor in the Bible. Swamiji didn't talk about it. Swamiji doesn't know about it. No Muslim priest knows about it. No Christian priest knows about it. Right? No Kabbalistic Sufi knows about it. How come you are saying a type of stuff which nobody knows? Right? Because you cannot provide references from any celestial books. But you can tell them, this is coming from God through my soul number 4, which represents stuff covered by God. And it only uncovers on them who have learned the expertise of the covered one. Right, Brother Steve? Who have learned the expertise of the soul that represents covered secrets. Then comes the 5th soul, the soul number 5. Akhfa. Even more covered. Khafi is covered. Akhfa means more covered. Allahu Akbar. More covered. The expertise of this soul, the knowledge, practicality, energies of this soul was granted to Prophet Muhammad. And with this soul, the most covered is God. The most covered is God. This knowledge was granted to him. Go spread. Those who want to see my face, which is the most covered, my attributes have spread around the world in form of love, passion, compassion, right? My bounty, kindness. But is there anybody who wants to see real me? Let them see real me through the most covered soul. This one. When this is enlightened, you do not need your tongue to speak. Right? You do not need your tongue to speak. When you see dream and you speak in a dream, do you speak with your mouth? So there is something in your body that has the ability to speak without the mouth. Right? But when you have this enlightened, you can speak through your soul of ikhfa. People will hear you. Right? Prophet Muhammad used to stand there. There was no loudspeaker, nothing. And he would speak to the gathering of 100,000 people. And people would hear him. How? Because he wouldn't be speaking with his tongue. He was speaking through the soul, which has the expertise of speaking. And, it is interswitchable, interchangeable. There are different types of hearing. There is 2 types of hearing. Hearing, which is granted to human beings, which has density. And the divine hearing, which is ethereal, spiritual, very light in nature. With this tongue, if I speak, only those can hear me who are human beings or who are animals. Right? With this tongue, I cannot speak to God. With this tongue, I cannot speak to Jesus. With this tongue, I cannot speak to Rama, Krishna, Bhagwan, Allah. But when this one is enlightened, I can speak with both at the same time. If I speak with this, I will sit like this. And you think I'm sitting, but I'm speaking. Because the inside is speaking. In the olden days, there was a system that there has to be a saint of God called Abdal at every 40 miles. And they would communicate with each other. In the olden days, 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, there were no mobile phones, there were no radios. How would they communicate with each other? With this soul. Right? So we will come to soul number 5. And then we come to the higher self. The higher self. And the name of this higher self is Ana. Remember in Mexico, I was using this mystical phrase, Ana anta wa anta ana, Ana anta wa anta ana. So that was really special. So Ana is the name of this soul. Ana means I, me. Who? Not me. I have I in me. I have I in me. You have I in you. And you have I in you. Who is this I? I is in everyone. I have I in me, and you have I in you, and he has I in him, and she has I in her. Who is this I? God. This is the mark of Him, God. Some spiritualists, Orientalists, translated this I into self-love, self-ego. Ego is the essence of being me. These dictionaries and these books that tell you different words about one word, these dictionaries will not tell you what ego means. Ego means the art of being me. It's not bad. In the meaning, it's not bad. Ego. Ego means the art of being me. Right? So there are two eyes in you. The higher eye and the lower eye. The art of being me in the higher self represents God's presence. And this ego is a must for everybody. Ego means the art of being me, the essence of me, the verb of me. Right? The art of being me. The art of being me is a term that we call ego. Right? But we have two of them. One eye is down there at lower self. This also says the art of being me. This one is negative. This one is positive. The divine ego is a must. You must strengthen it. You must grow it. The art of divine being, the art of divine me. This is divine ego. And it represents the Godhead. It represents the Godhead. And the art of me in the lower self represents the evil head. The art of being me in the lower self, which turns you into a selfish person, self-centered, right? That is negative. So we have to convert this negative ego into positive. Right? And this is exactly what Yahweh means. I am wherever I am. Either I am in Moses, or I am in Abraham, or I am in Jesus, or I am in Muhammad. I am whoever I am, and I am wherever I am. You need to identify this I am in everybody. And you identify this I am in everybody to the path of spirituality, Sufism. I hope you understand. When you learned the expertise of the art of being me, the curtains between you and God are lifted. The curtains are lifted. The veils are lifted. Once the veils are lifted, when God was veiled and you are waiting, right? You are a traveler of duality. You are a traveler, duality. But once the veils are removed, the curtains are removed, duality shrinks. Brother Steve? Duality shrinks. And you know what God says at this point? When the lover is waiting in front of God and the veils are lifted, God opens his arms. Qaba qawsayn, like two arrows. And he asks the Sufi to hug him. The distance becomes zero. There is no distance. Right? This is union. This is union. There is no distance. But still, they are two who are clung to each other. You're not completely out of the domain of duality. Right? In order to remove this domain of duality, His Holiness Gohar Shahi has introduced a newer form of Sufism, the divine infusion, in which the domain of duality is nullified. You, in origin, is a droplet from the ocean of God. And when the drop that came out from the ocean at one point in time in the past is now ready to go back into its origin, the droplet which came out from the ocean of God plunges into the river, into the ocean of the essence of God. And forever, duality is gone. Then there is only I left. I. And when only I is left, you become Jesus. You become Muhammad. You become Ram. You become Krishna. You become Bhagwan. Right? This is Sufism.
The best speech ever.
Really? We're going to have some panel discussion now. Before I speak more, if time allows us. Brother Steve. Brother Steve is in the state of awe. یہ کیمرہ یہاں رکھ دو نا, وہاں سے ٹیڑھا ٹیڑھا لے رہے ہو, وہ اچھا نہیں لگ رہا. وہاں پر, ہاں وہاں بٹھا دو. سوامی جی کیسے لگا؟ مزہ آیا؟
It being the last day of the Western Sufi Course, it pretty much summed up most of what had been spoken about. But then even more detail. The details in which you went with the functions of every single celestial soul was amazing, of what they were supposed to do and what their actual knowledge was, what a Sufi can achieve having enlightened that soul. And you started off with the point of finding unity in the existence of creation. And this is the first ideology. And upon this ideology, the majority of Sufis this is what they were convinced upon most. And that's because the majority of Sufis, this is all like we've been listening to and understanding, this is the course of Sufism, your life. And the spiritual journey is the journey that you carry out within yourself. So how enlightened you become, the progress of your spirituality is dependent on that. And the majority of Sufis were able to reach up to a stage where they were able to see the light of God within them, the theophanies, when they reached their inner heart, the spiritual heart. Now they hold that divine energy within them. So when they look at the divine energy within them, which was generated, the invocation of God's name with the spiritual, with the physical heart, or due to the theophanies of God, when they saw that same form of divine energy in the animals, in the plants, in the trees, they said that God is everywhere. And then this was further elaborated as well today. We yesterday understood about the reality of the aura, and now we know that God also has an aura. And yesterday we learned that every individual, depending on how spiritual they get, depending on how much divine energy they are able to generate inside their body, that's the amount of that's how big and strong their aura would be, the positive aura around their body would be. And the more souls that you awaken within yourselves, that's how stronger and the wider radiance of your aura was going to be. Now, if you compare that to God, God is God, obviously, and his aura is so big that it encompasses all universe. And obviously the universe has planet Earth, all the beings, all of its creation inside that aura. And that's why anything that touches God's aura, God's presence, is obviously there. So that was a different side and a more depth into the first ideology of Sufism, whereby the Sufis that were able to reach a certain stage in Sufism where they could see the divine energy, and then in turn see the same light of God in everything else. And that's why they said that God is everywhere. God is in the air, the trees, the plants, the insects, the animals, and they respected and appreciated all forms of creation. So this is the first ideology, the ideology of those who found unity in the creation of God. And then the second ideology is now of those that group of Sufis that had reached an advanced ultimate level of spiritual enlightenment, where I'll come back to the first point in regards to the aura, is that when these Sufis reached God, now when they saw God, all they could see was the aura of God. And they were bedazzled by seeing the aura of God. They couldn't see the actual existence, the actual being of God. And it's like when you, at nighttime, when you're on the motorway, you can't see the other cars coming, you just see a great beam of light. In the same way, there was so much light, they couldn't see the actual existence of God. So they saw that there was they saw his aura, and they were bedazzled by the light of God. So they understood the form of God to be light. That's why you'll see some Sufis say that God is nothing but light, and he has no physical form. And this concept is also in certain religions. And this is because that is what the spiritual dignitaries of those religions were able to see. The Sufis of that path were able to see. They only saw the aura of God. They couldn't actually see. They weren't, I don't want to say the word, but they basically didn't see the actual person of God. So those then, in the second ideology of Sufism, they are those who were convinced of finding unity in the existence of God. And they are those that when they went before God, they actually saw the person of God beyond the light. It's like putting all the fog apart and seeing God. And those, obviously, when they saw God, they can differentiate to the creation. They would love the creation, but then God is God because they have actually seen, the actual manifestation of God, the actual existence of God. And that was the first part of the course today. And then the second point, which was extremely overwhelming, was amazing in the way that it was taught. We will explain every single individual soul and its own spiritual function, how it came to be, and what we can potentially use it for, what a Sufi, having enlightened it, can use it for. First of all, obviously, seeing the board, we got to know of the ana, which means I. And His Holiness said that everybody has this I in them. So is it like, when we refer to us as I'm referring to myself as in my body, or am I referring to myself as in the lower self or the higher self? We don't really know. We don't have the awareness. Whereas we have the lower self, which also, it takes cover. When we talk of I, we're actually talking about the I coming from the lower self, because we represent the desires of the lower self. But once you are able to push that lower self down and give rise to the higher self, now you represent the I of God, which is in every single individual. Once you awaken and enlighten that I within you, then that is what you become. And then, it's just so amazing, the depth. We usually hear words like every person has God within them, but this is like the mechanism and the true, spiritual anatomy of man and woman, how when they awaken this higher self and they allow this to be taken over by God, then there's going to be God in every single individual through that mouthpiece, the Godhead of man, the Godhead in every man. That part was really amazing. I'm sure I've left much of it out. You could cover some points.
Yeah. It was just, yeah. There was so much to take in. Just very enjoyable. I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
I think
Would you like to say something, Zasina? Huh?
I think it's amazing. It's only all amazing finish. In fact, I think the only thing, probably just coming back to say this point, was that it's not about you finding God, but the
There is a
main thing
question
is
from
that,
Michael.
getting or helping God to find yourself. I think this is one of the thing which was discussed previously in one of the lecture as well. In fact, I think that's I guess the takeaway. And one of the great poets in the Eastern world, in fact, Allama Iqbal, he also has one famous poetry of him. One of it is basically खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. Probably it kind of reflects or sums up whatever explanation Sayyidi gave throughout this session today. In fact, so great, excellent finish.
I'd just like to remind everybody that would be taking part in the Western Sufi course today, those that have been taking part in the Western Sufi course and those that will be taking part in the future, that everything will be available categorically, chapter by chapter, lesson by lesson on the Western Sufi course. And it would, you would have all the time in the world to properly consume and absorb every minute detail. So it's all going to be available there, and it's going to be extremely beneficial for everybody in the West for a long, long time. It's going to be like the first manual guidebook to Sufism. That's truly amazing.
before starting this Western Sufi course,
Mm.
we majority were a stone of salt, But after day by day, today is 14th day, and you have concluding this Western Sufi course, you have opened the old darkness of this path to reach and meet the God. All you have opened all darkness of these boundaries to how we can meet the God, and how we can talk God, and how we can able to hug with God. Today you have really concluding this session is excellent, and we feel that now we get confidence that all viewers and we all people of this path will really get and meet with God and get love of God without any doubt. We have got confidence today, and sure we will meet this the God, and we also able to convince and to teach other people. Those are desiring, burning desire to meet with God. We will also learn them by your grace of blessings, and these concluding sessions, we get confidence that we will also learn other people also, and we will now learn and start walk in this spiritual path and enjoy this life, and ultimately we meet our lovely God.
Wow. That's so kind of you.
I would also like to add that the activation of the heart, we can take it very lightly. Like, for example, we are going to towns and cities with the devotion, with the mission to find these souls that are ready to receive the enlightenment, the activation of the heart. And as it was explained today, it's a long process that begins with a simple activation of the heart from the Sufi master to the disciple, and then it goes and it takes its own course automatically. There is classes, there is courses, there is more information to aid the process, but from what I'm understanding is that once that the activation of the heart is implanted into the disciple, into those souls who are ready to receive and to expand and to meet God, it seems like we just are going to these places for as it can be taken lightly. That's what I mean. But in reality, it's a blessing that these people are receiving when they get the activation of the heart, that it has no way to be measured. It's all the blessings of God's are bestowed upon those that receive the activation of the heart, and that's really a gift that we are that people are receiving thanks to the opportunity that we have a Sufi master incarnated in the physical body here in this era, and that through his divine energy, he is transmitting his love and his wisdom to all those who are ready to expand, to unfold, to achieve a spiritual maturity, and to go through the weddings of the souls to meet God and to be one with Him.
Thank you so much. A Sufi loves all, respects all. And this is very popular slogan you will hear in all Sufi circles. But the mechanism of how a Sufi will love all and respect all is here. When you learn to identify God, when you learn to identify presence and bounty of God in everything that exists, this is true form of unification. Not just among human beings. A Sufi finds unity in all that exists. Birds, plants, flowers, animals. These are all carriers of the divine representation. When you're able to identify divinity in all its forms, then you're at the threshold of unification. And you find the true uniformity by being able to identify the true source of divinity. This is why a Sufi who is taught to identify divine presence in all forms, in all creatures, whether they are stones, whether they are plants, plantation, vegetation, animals, birds, insects, everything. This is why a Sufi doesn't hurt anybody. A Sufi doesn't discriminate anybody. He loves everybody. Why? Because he is able to identify God everywhere. A Sufi identifies God in a temple, in a mosque, in a church, in a synagogue, and also on those houses where there is no religion. With the eye of his inner essence, he is able to see through the walls of churches, mosques and temples the true image of God. This is why a Sufi loves everybody. Why? Because he is able to identify divinity in all forms. So, Sufism is actually the art of identifying divinity in all that exists. That's the very much essence of Sufism. Now tomorrow we're leaving, and we will leave at 12. Is that okay? We will leave at 12. So, Brother Steve, you can leave with us. Azasina will accompany us. We'll pick you up. Right? Yeah. Swamiji, Irfan, and others, we'll all leave together. Is that okay? Well, we don't know. This is London. This is not America. There are so many people. Yeah. This is London. So we can have a fasting dinner party. That was very nice. See, a Sufi is innocent in nature. This is so great. We have different forms of purity in every religion. Nasir will give you the list. So we will pick you up like 11:30 tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. Yeah? 11:30. All right. So that's all for today. And we will see you tomorrow. The transmission will be from Glastonbury tomorrow. Take care.